That is single-handedly the creepiest thing I think I've ever seen.
So guys, yeah, we're back. Back doing videos again. Sorry for the long wait since we've been doing. Well,
Busy with life.
Yeah,
busy with life.
Yeah.
Finding lives. That was the most important thing. We didn't find them. Now we're back here.
Yeah,
so we're back here.
Yeah. So today we are reviewing the new movie. Yeah.
Basically, the most anticipated film that I had in 2016, which is Ricky Gervais's Life on the Road.
Yeah.
For many of you people who don't know, basically David Brent was a character in Ricky Gervais's sort of first big piece in the original Office. 2002?
It was about 2002.
Yeah, about 2002. So he's back in 2016, and guess what? He's on tour. He's on tour with his band Foregone Conclusion, which is probably the worst name. Probably a worse name since Hello Goodbye. And that was a terrible band name.
Overall impressions of it, what do you think, Sam?
For me, it was both brilliantly funny, at the same time as being the most uncomfortable 2 hours of my entire life. But I guess that was the point of it. It's quintessentially David Brent. It just makes you so awkward that you sort of have to get that little laugh out just to make it seem alright. The amount of times he sang about sort of, you know, in a Rastafarian voice, singing about really sort of touchy subject matters, singing about don't make fun of the disabled because they can either be mental in the head or mental in the leg. And just sort of moments like that where it makes everyone in the audience, even the sort of drunk guys down, like, you know, in the seats below, were literally just sitting there, could not stop creasing.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Because it was just it was so horrific to watch at the same time as it was so hilarious to watch. Which is just essentially, you know, The Office back in 2002.
For me, the overall impressions for me, I feel like it is definitely like an awkward movie to watch, but that's like the comedy behind it.
Yeah.
And you really get this with this film. When I watch it, it doesn't bring back memories of The Office.
Yeah.
I sometimes think it's not part of that, and the majority of the movie isn't.
It is literally just a spin-off. It's just his character has moved on. And it's just showing, I mean, the documentary crew come back from the old show, and they're just there because they see the impending disaster that is David Brent's band on tour. Although the tour doesn't really go anywhere other than around the Reading area. They're just going from different pubs, and the majority of the time the hotels are out 4 miles from their own houses.
It is his money, he can do what he wants with it, but it's kind of silly.
I think in the end he ends up spending like £25,000.
It was all pension funds.
Yeah, he took out loads of private pensions or something like that from the 90s. So he basically goes on tour, he hires this sort of like really young backing band as well. He has Doc Johnson, the sort of rapper, who essentially takes over Martin Freeman's role of just being completely deadpan and just staring at the camera and not knowing what to do or say. So the acting in the film, obviously you've got the two lead roles, basically played by Ricky Gervais plays David Brent. He takes that role back from, you know, pretty much the character himself is Ricky Gervais. And Doc Johnson, who basically plays anyone who would be in a band with Ricky Gervais.
And also he's like a real rapper as well.
So he's obviously got the natural talent to fulfill the role as a rapper. And so obviously David Brent is played, as you'd expect, Ricky Gervais, completely and utterly brilliantly. I'm not entirely sure that's Ricky Gervais's normal character.
I don't think it is. Sometimes like he does get those, like, because I've seen him live. And he does have those sort of characteristics in the movie. But like sometimes it does a little bit weird. I mean, the idea of it is he's so relatable because you all know someone that is like David Brent. Like you've all had that manager, or you know, most times it's probably like your own dad's. Essentially that. Like I know mine is very similar. Like his jokes aren't funny. And they're borderline racist sometimes, and he just doesn't really know. It's like a generational thing where you're trying to be funny, but you do throw in a bit of casual racism here and there, completely accidentally. And our generation's like, nope, that's not funny.
Well, some people find it.
Some people,
But I mean, the main audience. I went to the premiere in it's not the premiere, the first screening in Leicester Square Odeon, but I had a lot of drunk middle-aged men below. Like we were in the sort of circle, and down there they were laughing at everything. There's only one time that they ever made it be too awkward for these really drunk middle-aged guys, who were all dressed as David Brent, surprisingly, like complete with like the
Really?
Like, you remember the scene where he dances? You know, does that whole sort of motivational speech. there's a guy dressed as that, and when the woman came out to introduce the film, he got up, put his boombox on the stage, and started doing the dance. So that was that showed the sort of thing.
Can I ask you something? What, did like one of them come in like with an Elvis costume on?
No, I couldn't see too far.
I can. There's something about Ricky Gervais. I can just imagine him with like a fucking Elvis costume on. I don't know what it's about.
Yeah, it's
or
true.
something like some like white flared costume.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things like you can sense the awkwardness in the character. And you can always sense that Ricky Gervais is always awkward playing himself.
Yeah.
And that comes across really well.
Mm.
And I think that, like, the character makes the film. If it was just, say, any old actor, any old character, just making jokes, the film would be terrible.
Yeah.
The film stands up because of Ricky's character, as well as Doc Johnson's character.
Mm.
So obviously he basically replaces Tim, so Martin Freeman's character in The Old Office. So he makes sure that there's like that completely dead response, someone who's relatable in the sense that there's someone, who knows these people and just you have no response to anything they're doing. At one point in the film, Ricky Gervais' character David Brent gets really drunk, and Doc Johnson's helping him back to his room, and he's just saying, "I'm your, N-word." And Doc Johnson goes, "No, you can't say that." And he's just like, "No, but I am though. I'm wet," and then N-word.
Yeah.
And it's just and then Doc Johnson has to give in, just go, "Okay, you're mine." We can't say this.
Yeah.
In case of we do
we're
live
not racists.
We're not racist. We do not condone the use of that word. There'll be a disclaimer at the bottom. So it does not represent the opinions and feelings of the Seymour Films group. That's one for the lawyers. So Doc Johnson's character, he's basically the sidekick.
Yeah.
He's dragged along. Yeah, he was promised to be managed by Ricky Gervais' character. And and then suddenly David Brent takes over and has the band, and Doc Johnson's stuck on this tour, only performing like 2 songs.
Yeah, halfway during the movie, he's just not doing anything.
Yeah, he's not there for like.
And then he's rapping like loads of shit about
David Brent.
About
David Brent, which ironically gets him signed up to a label.
Yeah.
And then that's the whole.
That has no interest in David Brent, but just him.
Yeah, he gets
Fuck
signed.
the band as well,
yeah.
just him.
But the band end up doing a tour with Peter Andre at the end, don't they? So
Yeah.
they land on their feet, which is the bonus. That's quite a nice little cameo. I mean, like sort of acting wise, those 2 characters do make the film. Like without them, it's just a film about a band going on the tour. Sort of like the similarities in plot are similar to This Is Spinal Tap. Like back in sort of the 70s, 80s, I've only seen it once. Can't remember a lot of it, if I'm honest, but it's reminiscent. It's reminiscent of it, like a band goes on tour, a bit of a parody of a band on tour essentially. So the general sort of reaction to it, I personally really enjoyed it. I don't know.
I kind of enjoyed it, but there's some bits, a lot of bits actually, that I don't know. It's just putting my comedic sense that I don't know. But
I mean, for me being a bit older, I do remember more watching The Office, and like my whole family had a bit of an older sort of sense of humour. Watched a lot of older TV shows. I remember that. So I think my humour was sort of moulded by that sort of uneasy humour. Like you're not sure whether to laugh or cry. Yeah. And I think the film for me was such one of those for about an hour and a half. It was just some complete unnerving roller coaster, and then suddenly the mood just shifts. And it's such an emotional ending. I'm not going to ruin it for anyone that hasn't seen it, but it's such an emotional ending. Like my partner who I went with to the film, like she hates David Brent. She hates Ricky Gervais's comedy, but even she cried. She physically had tears running down her eyes.
Yeah, I did feel for him at the end.
It is something because everyone's been there in that moment. Everyone's been where David Brent has been. They felt that emotion, and that's why his character is so relatable. And that's why I think I enjoy the film more, because it's such a relatable thing. Like everyone's dreamed of going on tour, but no one's ever done it. Like the whole film, the message of the film is, despite him being a bit of an,
he's fulfilling his dream.
He is living his dream. He's paying his money, he's living it, and now he's going back to his boring job. I mean, that's the sort of message that this film is getting across. And for me, I think that's why, out of 10, I'd pretty much give it 8.5, 9. Wow. So there were some uneasy points, so it sort of did drag the story along. But I think even the supporting cast were just fantastic. I could easily see there being another series of David Brent.
As a kid, since it's sort of adult, there's not too much adult humour. But but it kind of is. It's sort of like teeny, mid-range humour, I guess. But I was a little kid, so I didn't understand much of it. But I really liked his voice. That's what made me laugh.
Yeah.
But looking back at it now, when I did watch a few episodes of The Office UK version on Netflix before I watched the movie, and I sort of got that sort of awkward humour with it that made me laugh. But when I watched the movie, it came to me a couple of times, but what made me laugh the most was, again, his laugh. It's something about his laugh that just...
I think because everyone knows someone with that sort of laugh, it's not even a laugh.
Yeah.
It's just a little like brief half a second noise. And it's just like, you know...
I think that makes it because when he's trying to make out he's funny and stuff, and nobody laughs, I think that just makes it.
Yeah, he's sort of trying to laugh himself, and it's just like with the little face that he has, it's just like...
It's like you're laughing at him.
He's got such a sort of like, not like strange face, but like, you know, almost unlikable face.
Yeah.
At the same time, like, I like Ricky Gervais and all his work, but he's got that sort of face. I think that's what makes his characters.
I mean, I know this program and TV show and the movie that just came out is a big part of what he does.
Yeah.
How long has he been doing it? 15 years?
2002. So yeah, over like 15 years. Yeah.
They had like
14.
2 seasons and then
14,
he's back again. And as you said, they might be bringing new seasons over again. I think they'll do that only if this movie's like, if people really like this movie. Apart from his movie, there's other things he's done that are just much more funnier.
Yeah.
Like his live content, oh wow, they are so funny. So what I liked about the movie was the music really. The band I really liked because I sort of like relate to them. Like I feel like because obviously it's rock and roll. I love rock and roll. It's like my most favourite genre of music. And I play it a lot, and I sort of like relate to them, especially as a musician myself, like playing and performing in gigs and whatnot. I mean, I haven't toured or anything, but I sort of relate.
Neither has he really. In a few gigs in Reading.
That's what I really liked about the movie, and also obviously, as I mentioned before, his songwriting is like really again racist and whatnot. Yeah. But like sitting there. There's this scene where he's sitting on his bed and he's just writing a song for Native American, and I can relate to that so much because that's what I do. I sit on my bed, and if I want to get some like facts when I'm songwriting,
you sit on Wikipedia finding the facts for the song.
I don't go on Wikipedia. I go on other sources, but sometimes when I like want to look up a word that might rhyme with it and make sense and everything, and some just like fact checking stuff, making sure like, okay, what I'm singing actually makes sense. That's what I do, and again I can relate to that character. What I don't like is it does feel a little bit long-winded. Like is that, how long is it? An hour?
I think it's about an hour 45 to 2 hours.
Yeah, well, it's just long-winded, and he's doing all these gigs, he's not successful in them, and it just feels like a repeat every time.
I think it could have been done into a TV series. Like I think a gig each episode. I think Ricky Gervais does 2 series at a time. I think that could have been another option. Yeah. I mean, it still could be an option. They still could do another sort of following David Brent doing the sales. Because the office environment he was in was still very similar but different at the same time to what he was in before. Obviously the supporting characters as well were fantastic. For the small roles they played them brilliantly. I mean, for me, what I liked was that David Brent stayed the same as he was. Doc Johnson managed to fill the boots of Martin Freeman. Like I said, I like the band as well. I liked how they sort of the appearance of them being bored was so real at the same time. You can see that they weren't enjoying the songs that they were playing in real life, and that it wasn't acting. I mean, I felt that Doc Johnson's character, is about sort of David Brent, sort of 45% of the character. Doc Johnson was about sort of 30% of the rest of the supporting cast. I think that without them two, they were quite a good double act. Like David Brent was the guy that was sort of reaching for the stars with that. He can sing, but the subject matter was wrong. Whereas Doc Johnson never had a chance to sing, and he had the real talent, he had the real sort of artistic ability. And I think that was where he was mostly, he was mostly supposed to be, subdued until sort of that big moment he sort of has to arise to the occasion. Like most films about anyone whose talent is subdued, he had to quickly rise out. So I think the film was almost just as much about Doc Johnson's character, rising up past this sort of oppressive person, and his music career was then just there.
Yeah, as I said before, the music side of things is that's the biggest part. As soon as I went home, I just felt like picking up guitar, and I actually feel like picking one up right now.
Please don't. It's late at night. Sit down.
I just want to play Native American. Please.
No.
Come on. Maybe I'll...
Right, let's go to the conclusion. Would we recommend this film or not? Personally, I would, because I like David Brent's character. I grew up with that humour, I love the humour. I like sort of films that, have a band and have that one person rising up, and I really do like the sort of emotional turn it takes you on. You're sitting there feeling so uncomfortable, so sort of almost angry towards this David Brent character, and then suddenly he becomes so much more human, so much more relatable. And for me, that's one of the reasons why I would give it, 8.5, 9 out of 10. I think if you're not a fan of it, fair enough. You're probably not going to enjoy it, but if you are a fan of David Brent, you're going to absolutely love it.
For me, if you don't get the irony from it and you sort of feel as if you don't really get the movie, or not really like the trailer, and if you don't really understand the whole awkward comedic concept from the TV show, then this movie's not for you. I would definitely recommend seeing at least a couple episodes of season 1 of the TV show before watching this movie, so you get an idea at least of who this guy is and everything. The rating I would give it, because I didn't really get the comedic sense that much, because that's just me. I guess it's different for everyone. But I love Ricky Gervais, so I would have to give it no more than a 5 out of 10 for me. So that's a big difference.
Yeah, it just shows a sort of I think there's only 3 years in age difference, but that just shows the sort of humour difference on how one.
Okay.
Right guys, that's the end of our review. We are officially back from our little break. So we will be back every sort of fortnight with new content. Not always just film reviews and not always just superhero reviews like it used to be.